What's up, everybody?
It's that time of day. It's that time of week.
It's that time of the week. It's Friday night. We're back for another episode of Friday Night Shenanigans.
It's about to be on fire.
Hallelujah. So we got some pretty serious shenanigans coming up here. We got the solstice coming up.
Man, it's, I can't believe it's less than a week away. I am not at all prepared. I have not put my boat on the gunpowder in probably a month.
Don't blame you.
I've been busy with tournaments on the flats. The last one, which was just a dumpster fire on my part. Well, we can get into that a little bit, but just a dumpster fire on my part. And then tournament tomorrow in Conowingo, which it's pretty much kind of the end of that summer transition up there. So things are starting to get a little tough. And it's going to be tough conditions tomorrow with the wind. And there's two other bigger tournaments out of Peach Bottom tomorrow. So tomorrow's going to be a little grindy too. I suspect,
be loaded up there tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be a little crowded. It's not going to be horrible. I mean, it's not going to be like the flats, but it's going to be for Conowingo. It's going to be a little crowded. But either way, we're another day on the water tomorrow, and I pre-fished different. So I've only had not this last Monday because I was a dumbass and listened to the weather, which they said it was supposed to storm all day, which it didn't storm until like 4 o'clock.
Tony, they don't know what they're talking about.
So I didn't go out Monday, which I should have. So I lost a day of practice there, trying to be a responsible adult and not go out in a lightning storm. So I decided today I was going to go out no matter what. And until I physically heard thunder or saw lightning, I was staying out. That's exactly what happened. I pulled the boat probably 10 o'clock, and by 10:15 I was soaked, just storming like it's
in your sweatpants.
In my sweatpants.
Because you don't have rain gear.
I actually did have rain gear today. That's the only reason I have rain gear is because it's Army issued. So
what's up, Zachary? Thanks for joining in, bro.
So there's that. But yeah. So I'm fishing the history tomorrow. Now I will say, in the last few times, the last 2 trips I made it out there, today being one, I did find some new stuff, which is cool. A lot of the stuff that I relied on heavily in the fall last year in those opens, it's not there. Yeah. It's just not there. So I don't like that because I can't catch the quantity and quality of fish.
I think there's a lot of anglers that are out fishing tournaments and stuff right now that are finding that a lot of the history that they fished this time last year is not even close to the same.
Yeah, like I don't know. I'm definitely I wouldn't say I'm struggling. I mean, I'm going up there and I'm catching a limit.
You're fishing good in obviously your club standings.
Yeah, so I did drop the second. So we'll talk about that tournament for a second. That was the most frustrating tournament I've ever fished.
You dropped a second in the one tournament?
I did. Because I only weighed in 3 fish for like 6 pounds.
Okay.
So
I didn't think we were at the threat of that until this week.
Right. Well, so it's because Dustin's fishing really good this year too. So it's tight. Like there's no room for error. Like you better be in the top 3 every tournament.
Right.
And it's a pretty safe bet that he's going to be in the top 3 every tournament. Martin's fishing great this year too. So it's a very tight race. Like if you look at the standings.
What's up, Jake? Thanks for joining, dude. Dude, Jake's been on a tear. Jake killed 69 fish, my favorite number in the whole universe.
Snakeheads?
69 snakehead mixed in with some carp and those goldfish. He said it was for about like 1,500 pounds or something on the boat.
Damn.
I have no idea how the boat didn't go down, but it was pretty gnarly haul they had the other day.
That's awesome. Yeah, that sounds like fun. But yeah, it's tight this year, man, and I like that because it's not just 1 or 2 people that are dominating, and it keeps it interesting for everybody. I mean, nobody's really mathematically out of it yet, which is cool because of the way that the points work.
Right.
But nobody's really got it locked in at all. I mean, the top 3 is not even locked in, so you got to fish. You got to fish consistently, and you got to fish well. And I just didn't do that last tournament, dude. It was horrible. So I took Buckland with me, and I know he's going to catch a limit off the back of the boat, which that's a given. So he's got two.
Dude's just a hammer no matter where he's at.
So he's got 2 or 3 fish, probably by 7 o'clock, and I don't have any. And I'm not worried, but I'm like, damn, I would really like to have a fish right now. It would just make me feel a lot better. So I start throwing my swim bait out there. Deborah said no volume on Facebook. If you guys are on Facebook, Zach and Jake, are you guys on Facebook and can you hear us? Want to make sure that we're not in the wrong here. Yeah, let us know if you can, please, because we want to make sure we got volume here.
Everything on our end looks like it should be working properly.
Jake says he could hear it. So, Deborah, you might want to, it might be something on your end. So, I don't know. Excuse me. Maybe just reopen and close Facebook or I don't know.
Yeah.
So, he's got 2 fish by 7 o'clock, both on topwater, which is frustrating because I'm also throwing topwater.
Oh, dude, the topwater bite.
Right.
That time of the season, we're gonna get into that.
Well, it's like he's throwing topwater, catching them, and I'm throwing topwater and not catching them. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I got you. They're eating yours, they're not eating mine. It is what it is. Like I didn't even have the opportunity. So he's got 2 fish. I put my swim bait on. You guys that have fished with me, you know exactly what I throw with the swim bait. I won't say it on here because I don't show everybody. I don't even show everyone I fish with, only if I'm like tight. So if you guys know what I'm talking about, feel privileged. So I start throwing my swim bait, and probably 2 or 3 casts, dude. 2 or 3 casts into the swim bait, I feel the chomp chomp. I go set the hook. It didn't even move the fish. So I'm like, oh, this is a nice fish. I'm feeling good. And right about 3, 4, 5 turns into it, it goes completely slack. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what happened? The hook, brand new VMC hook out of the pack, broke.
You brought,
Dude, broke.
I will go to the VMC hooks if I'm like last second needing it.
It was like I couldn't.
But
believe it.
I've just learned from the VMCs.
I couldn't-
Always good to do the Gamakatsus.
So it gets worse. So that whole thing happened, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, "You saw that, right?" And I'm holding the hook. I'm like, "Dude, there's no way." I retied this yesterday. Like I caught fish on this because we had a tournament the previous weekend. I caught fish on this exact thing. I didn't put a new hook on, but the hook was fine.
Right.
Retied the whole thing and whatever. So that freak thing happens. Maybe 20 minutes goes by. I get another bite, set the hook, feels like a decent fish, probably 3, 4 cranks and gone. I'm like, wow. So now I should have 2 fish and I have no fish. And it's like 7:30 at this point. So we're within that bite window. There's nothing worse than missing fish when you know you're in a bite window because you're not going to get bit like that all day. So, it's 7:30. I don't know if he had picked up a third yet, but I think he probably had a third. So he's got 3. I should have 2. So we're fishing different. He's not taking my fish. He's fishing
different areas. You guys are both throwing top water, different baits, different colors, yada yada.
Well, once the topwater bite was over, he started doing his thing and I'm doing my thing. And my thing is bomb casting the swim bait, and his is not. I won't tell you what he was doing, just because I know he wouldn't want me to, and that's fine. But it's not like we're not really even fishing for the same fish,
right?
If that makes sense. Like 2 completely different techniques.
You know what? But it's hard to do that if you're not moving. When you're not okay, so boat speed has a lot to do with technique, right? How much water you're covering. If somebody's trying to do one technique and you're trying to do another technique that requires a different boat speed, it's really hard to do that.
Right.
Which, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, and that's a thing. Like team tournaments, like yes, you got to be on the same page, but
right.
Like. The reality of the situation is if I'm the boater and I want to put the trolling motor on 100 all day, you got to figure it out.
Well, exactly. That's what makes me wonder because I know how Buckland likes to fish kind of a little bit. So I'm kind of curious because you bomb casting a swim bait.
Yeah.
You're moving at different paces.
Yes, but I'll do that, but I'll milk an area. Like I don't move a whole lot. If I know I'm in them, I don't move a whole lot. So anyway, so that whole thing's going on. So I didn't get a bite on a swim bait for a while, so I kind of make a circle around this little grass area, and I throw my worm in there. And like second or third cast with the worm, I get a bite, go to set the hook, breaks clean off. And I'm like, oh my God.
This is normal history with you in the past when I have fished with you, though.
So I don't understand it, though, because it's like the hook breaking is like an anomaly. That is no excuse. This fish getting off on the swim bait the first time, okay, gotcha, whatever, right? It's going to happen. This one breaking off is like, okay, now at this point,
I'm getting angry.
now I'm angry and I'm like, it's gonna be like this all day. Because
Right.
now I'm in my head, I'm like, I've had 3 bites, 2 of which I know were good ones. This one had to be a decent one for it to break off.
It's the hook itself breaking, or were you losing at the knot?
This one, I don't even know. It just line broke. On the worm. So now I'm like, Christ. And he's got, I think at this point, he maybe picked up a 4th. So instead of like either 3 and 3 or 4 and 3, it's like 3 and 0 or 4 and 0. And I'm like, holy crap, this sucks. And it's not his fault. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I want him to catch fish, but it's like, damn, like why? What am I doing wrong here? So it kind of slowed down for a while after that because once the sun gets up, things definitely start slowing down a little bit. So that whole thing it's slowing down. I finally caught my first keeper, which is not a big one, and I'm like, great. So in my head, I'm like, okay, I have a keeper, but I really have to get rid of this. I can't, like, this fish isn't going to help me if I weigh this in.
Right.
So, that whole thing's going on. I ended up with a second keeper on a worm, I don't know, maybe an hour later. And then it got pretty slow for both of us. At that time, it was probably around 9:30, 10 o'clock. It started slowing down. I think the tide was wrong. The tide had definitely stopped. So we kind of expected it to be an hour and a half of slow. So we just kind of put our heads down and fished. I think we both caught a couple shorts in that time frame. And then around 12:30, 1 o'clock, the tide started moving good again, and we started catching them. He caught his 5th fish. He might have called once or twice. And then I picked the swim bait back up.
Mm-hmm.
Start making casts again. And maybe about a half hour into it, I feel a good, like a knock slack in it. Okay, here we go. Reel down, feel pressure, sweeping hook set to the right. Like the rod doubles over.
The story earlier you were telling me about.
Yeah, the rod is doubled over. I'm cranking hard. Picking up a little bit of line, but not much because it's a good fish.
It's peeling out.
I didn't even say a word, and he's already running for the net and he's actually like, "Oh, that's a good one." You know what I'm saying? And after 3 or 4 cranks, it's gone, and I'm like, "What is happening? Why is this happening? Like, why?" So I'm like, "Okay, shake it off." I got 2 fish in the box. I still got 2 or 3 hours or however many, 2 hours left to catch 3 more fish. So I keep the swim bait in my hand. I don't know, 10 minutes later, same thing. Get a bite, set the hook, another good one. I don't think this one was quite as big. I firmly believe that one that had the rod doubled over was every bit of 5 pounds. And I didn't see the fish, but he looked at me. He's like, "I'm not trying to hurt your feelings."
Are you losing the fish, or are you losing the hook on each one of these fish?
I'm losing the fish. I only lost the hook once.
Okay.
I'm losing the fish now. So I've lost.
I'm like, if you need to go back and revisit your knot, your line, your hook, if you continue to break off like that. But you're not breaking off. You're losing the fish.
They're just coming unbuttoned for no
Right.
reason.
Okay.
It's just set the hook, 3, 4, no more than like 4 or 5 cranks of the reel, and then they're gone.
And these are still the VMCs.
Correct.
Right.
Triple bar, by the way. Like, how does that happen? So that that whole thing goes on. I lost the other one. So this is now like the 6th fish that I've lost in this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was apparently big enough to break a hook. I'm not saying it was a monster, but it had to have been a decent one. So now I'm just like, oh my God, what is happening? And I think that the same scenario happened like 2 or 3 more times that afternoon. I was the only thing I could get bit on. And then I just couldn't hook them. And it was just the weird. And I would let them take it. Some I would let them take it for 2, 3, 5
Are you
seconds.
setting the hook like the Incredible Hawk every time?
No, it's just sweeping. Just kind of sweeping the hook or sweeping hook set. Now, I'm using a 7.6 heavy, but that's not like. I mean, I flip with an extra heavy and I don't lose fish. And when I set the hook flipping with an extra heavy in the grass, it's a hook set.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not setting the hook like that with these things. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, I don't think I'm setting the hook too hard.
You think you're jumping too soon? You think you're not letting them eat the bait? long enough?
No, and the reason I say that is because I could tell by the way the bait was chewed up. The tail looked brand new. The head was like destroyed. They were eating it at the head.
Okay, but the hook is normally mid-center of the back of the bait.
Right.
So they're hitting it frontwards, and your line's probably getting in the way of it being sucked completely into the mouth.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I guess you could say like I could have been setting the hook too fast, but it was like the big one that I lost, it was like bite. I mean, that's like a solid 2.5, 3 seconds from like bite. Boom. Like how long does he need it?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking for with Martin right now. Martin says heavy on a plastic swim bait. Why aren't you running a medium heavy with more of like a fast action? I would say medium heavy fast action. A heavy fast action, dude, you could frog with that.
Well, that's why it's my carrot stick. That's why I bought the rod. But
It's a bad purpose for that bait.
but here's the thing though. Like I haven't lost a fish other than this tournament on that swim bait with this rod yet all year in both tournaments and fun fishing. That's what it doesn't make sense. Like what was it about that day that just totally it was horrible.
I need to pour a beer. But I will say that the other week when me and Steve had that phenomenal day throwing our wake baits and big and like 5-inch glide baits around, I was throwing that mini Sherpa gill that I had on. Actually, it was that 7'9" extra heavy frog rod that I bought, the Shimano X Pride. It was just the one I had laying around that I had a freaking reel with braid on that was just heavy enough to throw that bait.
Right.
And dude, you don't throw baits like that with a freaking extra fast rod. Treble hook baits, moderate fast every time in my book.
Right.
There are specific times where maybe I'll go to a fast, but a moderate fast is what I want every time when I'm in treble hooks.
So that's what I actually switched my.
And I know you're not treble hooks, but medium. What I'm saying is your heavy fast action is still way too stout for especially that application. I don't even know how you're casting that on that rod actually.
Brute force and ignorance, but like my original swim bait rod was a 7.6. It was Ardent. It was a 7.6 heavy. It might have been slightly softer on the tip than this carrot stick, but not much. I mean, it actually feels very similar. Now I will say after this, what I did is I have a 7-foot heavy, but it's a moderate. It's definitely a much more moderate tip. So I've changed the swim bait over to that. And I'm making that 7.6 heavy is going to be a frog rod, and it's also going to be like a plastics in the grass rod too. So it's kind of a dual application for that. Because my other frog rod broke in half, and it's been Mr. Tom fixed it, and I haven't had a chance to confirm its integrity yet because I haven't really been frogging a whole lot this year. So I got to make sure that I want to test it in the field first before I take it to a Thursday nighter and break it when I got a 4-pounder on and a frog or something.
Mm-hmm. For anybody that doesn't know, I don't want to put any information out there, but Mr. Tom with Tom's Custom Rods could definitely, anybody that loves and cares about Mr. Tom could definitely use your prayers and your thoughts right now. So be with Mr. Tom
definitely.
and your thoughts and your prayers right now. We're all thinking about you, Mr. Tom. And that's where we're just going to leave it with that.
Yep.
But yeah, pray for Mr. Tom.
Well said. So anyway, that was my tournament. It was very frustrating. I'm happy for Martin and Dustin for both those guys had a great day. So that was great to see. I don't know, man. And here's the thing: it's like I will, for whatever reason, maybe I guess it's time on the water or attention to detail. I would say my success rate in fishing over the last year has gone up quite a bit.
I would agree.
I'm happy about that.
What have we been hanging out for 3
years? 3 years.
3 years now. I definitely know when we started fishing together. I remember the first couple of times we went fishing together, how many breakoffs you had. And I was like, damn, this guy is like a monster.
Well, I break them off all the time.
And then it's definitely become more consistent.
Yes.
And your club tournaments results have definitely showed that.
Right. So, and that's kind of what I walked away from after I got done, like getting pissed off about how I lost like 8 or 9 keeper fish, couple big ones. Was like, 2 years ago, and I'm not saying this can't happen again. It might happen tomorrow. A bad tournament for me was coming in with like nothing or one. Like the worst tournament I've had so far this year, I've weighed in 3 fish. Mm-hmm. There's a lot worse things that can happen. You come in with nothing, you come in with one, or whatever. So it's like, yes,
Dude, it's almost like Bass and Beer Radio is wearing off on you a little bit.
I don't know, man. It's like I was, I don't know. I can't get too mad about it because I did what I was supposed to do. I got the bites. That's all you can do, right? When you go out fishing in a tournament or just fishing in general, all you can do is get the bites. If you get them in the boat or not, remember, the fish have 50% of the say. It's like anything. The beast has a part in this role, whatever you want to call it. So it's getting the bite. Once you get the bite, you've done your job as a fisherman. I mean, obviously there's more to it, but
keying in on that bite is one of the hard parts of being a fisherman. And you know what? Nothing sucks more than going out on tournament day and going out and sticking a fish right away, and you're just like, I'm on it. It's going to be a good day, and then not get shit the rest of the day.
Yeah, I've had that.
It's the most frustrating thing in the whole world. And with that, I want to jump over into our summer solstice topic. The summer solstice is coming up June 22nd.
Next Thursday.
Yep.
For those of you who can't do math, which is just like me, should be able to see it on the screen in front of Chad's somewhat beautiful face.
Yes, there it is.
3 hours, 3 fish. We gotta have somebody do a WWE voiceover of it. Middle River Solstice presents the Summer Solstice Bass Slam. 3 hours, 3 fish, 3 paybacks, or whatever. I don't know. I have way too much time on my hands, but
3 hours.
It's a fun tournament. It's a lot of fun, and you guys should definitely go if you haven't had the chance to go yet. I'm gonna pour another beer.
It is definitely the most fun tournament of the year, in my opinion. I love getting I love getting to Mariner Point, and just hanging out with the guys during this tournament. 3 hours, 3 fish, starting at 6 at Thursday, and then after that we start the next best series, which is the I thought that was on Wednesday last year. No, it's always been on Thursday. So Thursdays, and then we transition over to the Thursday nighters over until the end of August or September, right?
Correct. Well, yeah, I think I went into like mid-September last year, so that was cool. But yeah, man, like this is the time of year where it's just, dude, I have not cashed in on like the fishing after work stuff like some of you guys have, and I don't know, man. I need to start fishing after work because I've not been doing it.
If you're going to compete with, well, I can't even say that. Dude, you actually did a decent pour this time.
I know. Graduated.
If you're going to compete with guy, what's up, Jason? I'm just driving Westover fishing
what
tournament tomorrow. I'm just listening. Okay.
Kayak tournament?
Focus on the drive, Steven.
But yeah, I agree. I think
Jason Steven.
I mean, the biggest part of us doing well in the Thursday nighters last year was me and Buck committing to fishing the GP at least 2 days a week.
Well, that's what I was trying to say. You need to be able to go out and at least pre-fish 1 to 2 days a week.
Right.
I would on the GP to be competitive this year, and I'm looking forward to seeing Jason out on the GP this year.
I would spend all day Monday, sun up to sundown, pretty much every Monday, on the gunpowder. Mm-hmm. And it worked. I don't know, it worked because
it definitely worked. You guys got on some good juice this year. The thing is, what's going to be freaking nuts is everything. I think the Thursday nighters are going to be totally different this year. Like, I don't think you're going to see even close to the same pattern that you saw last year.
Maybe, maybe not. And it's going to depend on a lot of things. I mean, I think you're right. I think it's going to be different. I think we're going to see a lot of new faces this year. And the reason I say that is there's a lot of guys that fished the the Chester counties, that fished the Flats Trail, that fished the Bass Legends, that consistently caught big bags out of the gunpowder.
Personally,
And they're going to want to come and play.
Yeah.
And that's great. The more the merrier.
Yeah, the more the merrier, obviously. But where was I about to go with that? I literally just brain farted before I was about to say it.
Hopefully they know they have to idle.
Yeah,
And that's a big clue to where a lot of these fish were caught, for those of you who don't know.
But I think it's going to be completely different this year. If you go out there and you fish right now, I don't know if you've been out on the GP anytime recently.
No. Nope.
There's grass, but it ain't what it was this time last year.
Dude, I have some spots that I really want to look at. And so basically,
I know what spots for the most part that you're talking about, and it's not there. It's not there in what it was. Is it there? It's there. Yeah. It's dirty. It's covered in silt. It's covered in muck. It's anything that is surfaced right now. Anytime I see it, you used to have you would have, what's up, Dan? You would have nice green hydrilla, eelgrass, and all that coming up to the surface.
Right.
Probably around this time, last year, running back into the channels and stuff like that. Anything you see coming up right now is just covered in silt. It's covered in mud. It looks dingy. It looks dead. It doesn't look... If I was a fish, I wouldn't want to be in it.
However, I did find some sneak on the gunpowder this year, which it's
fish it.
I might, dude. I really might
fish it, because I think the GP is gonna fish totally different about this time right now than it did last year, because I remember what I was doing last year. I remember a day that me and Paul had out there about this time last year and what it looked like, and it is not there.
Yeah. No, I've been looking at some of my grass spots out there, and it's been like, where is it? Like, is it going to show up?
It's coming up, but I'm telling you, it's freaking dingy. It's dirty. I think in my understanding, I could be wrong. If anybody has any more information on this, please pass it along. I think the salt content is up a lot higher in our waters this year.
Well, yes.
We haven't had the fresh waters. We haven't had the rains. The tides have been pretty substantial in the ins and the outs. I think we have a higher salt content in our water this year. I think that's doing things to the grass foliage. I think that's also doing things to the bass that we're searching for. It's pushing them into different areas.
I think you could definitely make that argument.
It is an argument. It is something that I'm looking at and I'm trying to find answers for, because the bass aren't where I would think they would be at this time.
Right. Yeah, I definitely want to.
I feel like we're almost still at like this pre-spawn stage, not pre-spawn, post-spawn stage. And like, you know what I mean? Like, spawn's over.
Right.
It's over. Mm-hmm. But I feel like we're still at this weird post-spawn stage when we should be looking for fish to be in that summering stage.
Yeah. Well, that's where it is above the dam right now. I'll tell you that. But you're right. I mean, I've been on the flats. I've been catching them in the same spots since I started catching them in April. The gunpowder, I don't really have anything for it because I haven't fished there since, oh man, when was the last time I fished there? I think it was like early May was the last time I fished there. So it's been a while. I have not been fishing there at all. So hopefully I would like to go on Sunday and start looking around, but like I'm definitely Monday I'll be out there all day. Hopefully Tuesday.
You want to go out on Johnny this weekend?
I mean, maybe.
We go out on Johnny and rip around and just see what the hell's out there. There's a one spot that I want to look at. We're not gonna go any farther than that on here, but there's one spot that I want to look at that I think we should put eyes on in Johnny.
Cool. I'm down.
Yeah.
I still think it'd be cool one day, like if Steve can't fish or if Buck can't fish, we'll just link up one day on the Thursday nights and just try to catch 3 smallmouth.
I think, yeah.
Just to bring in 3 smallmouth.
That's one thing that me and you haven't done. We've been Bass and Beer Radio from the start. Never fished a Thursday nighter together.
Yep.
So we definitely got to do that. But we have our partners. We have our partners. Scuba Steve's my partner. Buckland's your partner. Dude, you know what would be fun? What if we just like swap partners for a tournament?
That'd be pretty funny.
That would be kind of wild.
That would be pretty funny.
Be cool.
It'd be
Yo,
kinda
what's
cool.
up, Rob? There's Robbie, old Riverboat Robbie.
I hope that they keep points this year. I know that Greg mentioned they might try to do it, like AOI and stuff like that.
I'm intending on trying to. I want to live stream all the weigh-ins per normal. Open that door up because he's whining like a bitch. I want to try to do live streams on all the weigh-ins, but I want to actually record all the weigh-ins too, and then that way we can kind of keep track of everything throughout the entire.
Right. No, definitely. For sure.
Oh, Rob's got the flu, man. I hope you feel better, dog. I'm sure that doesn't feel good. But okay, so Jason and Rob are fishing together.
Ooh.
I know Kevin can't fish yet. He's still working on his neck and all that stuff.
Right.
And then
Paul,
Evan's out. Evan's not fishing. Evan's going to some concert.
Grateful Dead.
Yeah, he's going to a concert to get annihilated and listen to music.
Right.
Bubbers, what are you doing, buddy boy?
I'd rather just fish, to be honest with you.
Oh, the Baskin Beer Radio mascot is here, Mr. Bubba Doos.
So I know we're going to get into it. We were talking about it before we went live. Is number one follow-up bait for a frog and why?
Yeah.
And like everyone's watching. Oh, it's a Senko. Duh. I am going to say it's not a Senko. Some of the time. For me, it's most of the time.
If you guys start getting loud, I'm kicking you out of the studio. Kick him out.
Out. Be gone from here. Hey,
Ow.
come on. Get on out of here.
Out.
Out. Out. Out. Out.
Out. Out. God dang dogs.
Can't have anything nice. So I know everyone says the worm, the Senko, the whatever. It's great, and it does. You will get a bite.
Texas rig weightless.
So here's why I don't like that. What are you throwing? Okay, you're throwing a Texas rig weightless. You're throwing a Senko. What are you throwing it on? Jesus Christ. Are we muted right now?
I think we were muted when I just did that. Let's see what it does. Does it do it?
Your trick worm. And I think
apparently it does work because Rob says no sound all
so
the
now
time.
we should have sound. So okay,
I
we
hope
should have
so.
sound. Now what I said why we didn't have sound is when you throw your wacky rig, when you throw your trick worm or whatever worm that you got, right? It's usually on a spinning rod. I personally don't want a spinning rod anywhere near a big bass in grass.
But you have to follow up with something.
Sure.
What everybody missed what we said. I hit this mute button on my little stream deck here, and it did not show me that it was muted. What you're going to miss there is if the fish picks up that frog and it got it in its mouth, you pull it out of its mouth, the fish is going to be a lot less likely to bite unless you throw something more smaller and slow moving in front of its face in its space. If that fish was sitting in that pocket that you drug that frog through and it bites at it and misses, you want to follow up with something that's going to sit in that strike zone for longer so that it's going to pick it up.
I agree with you. Now I'm gonna go.
But what is that bait to you?
Swim jig. A light,
But
the lightest swim.
a swim jig
The
is
lightest
so like
swim
what,
jig you
zero
got.
gravity?
No, just like I don't know. What was it 1/8 ounce? I think they make no, probably not 1/8
Dude,
ounce.
they have weightless swim jigs.
Probably like 3/16
I've seen 'em.
ounce, 3/16 ounce.
Yeah,
swim
it's
jig.
like it's nothing. It's like a paperweight.
Yeah, that's it. 3/16 ounce swim jig, black and blue. You flip it in there. It does its little flutter. Same thing as a Senko.
I
And you get
still
bit.
have, I still, something that light, you still can't cast it on a bait caster as well as you can a spinning
I
rod.
only throw my swim jigs on a bait caster.
Why can't you throw something on a spinning rod for more heavy cover? They make spinning rods,
You
and
can. You can.
so set up a spinning rod for that.
So, okay. You're right. You can do that. My thought process with this is swim jig has two main benefits. One, exposed hook.
And not to cut you off, but we're also talking about Maryland grass and not Florida grass right now. How often are you like punching mats and stuff like that? You're not doing that around here. You're hitting eelgrass pockets and stuff like that. The grasses can be thick. I don't think it's so thick that you need to have like this absurdly strong line and rod.
No, but I think it's just peace of mind, right? I mean, I've lost a lot of fish. The tournament, I've lost a lot of fish, but I lost a lot of fish on spinning rods and grass, like way too many. The tournament that me and Buck won in the Thursday Nighters last year, we could have had a really, really serious bag. The reason I say that is same thing. Had a fish miss his frog. I threw a Senko in. It bit. I set the hook, and I could not get that fish out of the grass. I'm on the trolling motor on 100 trying to get over to it, and I can't move this fish. And I don't think it broke off, but like it just pulled itself free of the hook. If I would have had a swim jig on and that fish would have bit, I would have been able to pull that. I would have been able to move that fish.
Right. Well, dude, I know how you like to set up a lot of your rods, and you definitely like to go to as light of a test line as you possibly can in a lot of your situations. Even in when you're using, you go to what, 6 pound test?
At times, if it's super clear, like wintertime fishing up above the dam, yeah, I will.
So
But
no offense, but I'm just imagining that. What do you throw in when you're flipping into grass? Are you throwing a braid to a leader?
no, so I rarely use a leader on bait casting setups. I've done it. I don't like it. I don't like it coming through the guides.
If it's for a jig setup or something, I will.
I feel like for flipping, it's just unnecessary because there's so little line out to where the sensitivity's there anyway.
It's not about the sensitivity when you're flipping. In my opinion, you're flipping. I feel like your boat is almost over top of them in a lot of situations, so you want your freaking line to be as less visible as possible.
Yeah, and
And that's why I think going to a fluorocarbon to a braid leader, not to mention a high vis braid, so you can see if that fish has lightly picked up your thing and is starting to swim with it.
I either flip 20-pound fluorocarbon or 65-pound braid, and there is no alternative unless
20-pound fluoro,
yeah.
period. I'm with Rob on this, and Rob said the Texas rig as well.
I have the Texas rig's fine, but the follow-up bait's got to be light. That's the thing. Like my normal swim jig is.
I feel like a Senko or a freaking God forbid I even say it, one of the Berkeley Generals. Like that's what isn't light about that.
Well, that's fine. If I have the choice and I have a level of confidence that a fish is going to bite a bait on 15-pound tests in grass or pads, especially pads versus 8 to 10, I'm taking the 15 all day.
Right.
Like especially you get on the Eastern Shore and start fishing pads. Grass is manageable. Pads, you'll break 8 to 10 off like that in pads.
You'll break your rods and pads.
Right.
You get something hooked up in one of those stems and you can forget about it.
Right. So for me, it's game of percentages, right? I want the best percent chance to land that fish when that fish follows up that frog bite. And again, my normal swim jig is not my follow-up. My follow-up swim jig is the lightest swim jig you can get with the trailer, whatever, crawl, doesn't matter. I mean, it does. I like a paddle tail, though.
Paddle tail.
I like a paddle tail, and then that's it. Like, and I actually learned that on the chop tank, because I had broke off the spinning. I had broke off a Senko for nice. I think I broke it off.
Oh God, that was loud.
I know. I think I broke off the Senko on a pad stem, actually, not on the fish, just on the pad stem, trying to shake it loose. It just broke.
Right.
So I had a fish short strike a buzz bait. So I threw the swim jig in there. It immediately bit. And I was like, okay, cool. Got it. Makes sense. I never retied the Senko. Just kept throwing the swim jig in there. I only had 4 fish my first time ever fishing the chop tank, and they were little. But I caught every fish except for one, following up a short strike on either a frog or a buzzbait with that swim jig. Mm-hmm. And I've done it with the Senko, but I really feel like if they're gonna bite a Senko, they're gonna bite the swim jig. For me, Rob,
I was gonna say I like Rob's question. Are you following up with something the same color as the frog?
Dark color.
I personally don't think it matters.
No, I think most importantly,
I think if you know that fish is there and you stick it in front of their face, that's, you know what I'm saying?
I think more importantly than the bait or the color is the timing. How long does it take you to get your bait right there?
You know, I heard it best from one of the legends that fishes on the back of your boat in the Thursdays, the rate of fall.
Yep. Oh, definitely.
The rate of fall, the way something falls, how fast it falls means a lot to these fish.
Yep.
How long is it sitting in front of their face? How long is it sitting in that strike zone before it falls underneath of them?
Right.
It all makes a huge difference. Yep. And or if it's sitting in front of their face or how fast it goes in front of their face creates a reaction strike.
Right.
Which you need to figure out what that reaction bite is, depending on the day.
I was catching them 2 weeks ago above the dam, throwing a 1 ounce tube. 1 ounce, like it was like a bowling ball at the end of the rod. It was awesome.
I didn't know you had a rod that was even heavy enough to throw that.
The thing of it is because it's such a small profile, you can throw it on a medium heavy, and just crack it around, stroke it around.
The issue is when you're freaking hooking up on it.
Oh, when you hook up on it, it's like it's gonna break your arm. It's awesome, because I was stroking a tube, like stroking it lovingly, but no, like I was
do that again
lovingly, but I was stroking it right, but I was right. So
we'll be stroking.
So I'm stroking the tube, and it's like you go to crack it a couple good times, and then it's like you get halfway, and it's either a rock and the rod just stops. And your elbow also stops, or it's a fish, in which case your elbow also stops, and now you have to figure out how to reel them in. But it was a very, very cool bite. I actually have very little confidence in a tube until recently. I've started to really catch them on a tube, which is cool. It's another tool, another tactic. So
I'm not going to give everything away, but as we're sitting here talking about everything, the Solstice is not going to be the same fishing-wise this year as it was. It's still going to be the best tournament ever.
Right.
But it's not going to be the same fishing-wise as it was last year. If anybody's listening to this that hasn't gone out and fished and intends on fishing the GP for the Solstice this coming Thursday, I would go out there and look at what you have to fish right now, because if you have an inclination on that what you fished last year is going to be there, it's not.
Yeah.
Unless it was the same freaking log that's hanging over the bank, because that's still there.
Right. Yeah, I have to get out. I have to put some time in. Monday's going to be Monday. I have to get a filling Monday. Damn, that sucks.
That'll just, what is it, in the morning?
It's at 11. So
that's a shitty time.
I know. I'll do the afternoon. I'll get done.
You're not going to want to fish after that.
Really?
If they numb your mouth up and stuff, your freaking mouth, you're gonna be drooling all over yourself and shit.
Well, that's okay.
You might as well drool over yourself in the boat, though.
Right. Wait. So, like, I thought fillings, like, they don't drill or nothing. They just like literally fill it in with like enamel.
No, but they're gonna be shooting something into your freaking tooth, which your nerves and stuff are up in there. I'm pretty sure they're gonna hit you with some Novocaine, bro.
Great. Well, I'll be out there. I'll be like the Goonies. Hey, you guys.
Hey, you guys.
Someone asked me at the ramp, did you catch him? Oh, no, I was out there and I just didn't do anything, So, if you see me on Monday and I sound like weird, that's why. So, I guess if Monday...
Please open that door. Just close it right behind you. God, his freaking squeals are incredible.
So if Monday doesn't work, I will fish all day Sunday and try to get my bearings on the gunpowder and see what's out there.
Not this coming Monday, but Friday next week.
Right.
I'm free to fish. I'm off. Hello, buddy. Yes, I see you. You're so handsome.
Friday, what's the date? That's the 23rd? Day after the solstice?
Yes.
I got work.
You're working.
Yes.
I'm free that, and then Monday I'm off too.
I'm definitely off that Monday, and I'm trying to. I'm hoping to fish if I can find somebody to. I'm waiting on my buddy Travis to get back to me.
I don't know if anybody even cares or not anymore because this has been going on for so long. But the Ranger is supposed to be done on the 20th of June, so 4 more days.
Yep.
4 more days it's supposed to be built. So I am really hoping that by July 10th, something like that, it'll be back up at Bowers Marine ready to freaking be picked up or something like that. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I just want this to happen so bad. This has been so long and drawn out. I can't take it anymore.
I think it'll all be worth it in the end.
It's going to be nice.
I mean, like, it's inconvenient, absolutely.
Very inconvenient.
But at the end of the day, you're getting a brand new boat for the price of a used boat.
I've been paying $500 and some a month for a boat, and I can't even rub my schmink on it if I want to, and it makes me upset.
Yep, I was there when I blew the Evinrude up on the Ranger on day 32 of owning it, and I was down for 4 or 5 months. Yep. So I feel that's a very bad pain.
It burns me the most because honestly, if they wouldn't have sat on the paperwork for the replacement haul the way they did, the boat probably would have been back 2 months ago.
Yep.
And you know what? You can say the what ifs and the if, ands, or buts all you want, but it just didn't work out that way. It's a little bit messed up, but the boat's going to come back. I'm going to run it. I'm going to see how much I like it. If I freaking hate it, I'm going to get rid of it and just go back to the John boat. But either or, I'm looking forward to having the Ranger come back and trying to be competitive this year and competitive in the Thursday night 3-1. I had much larger plans this year of fishing. Maybe not getting involved in a club right away, but I wanted to fish a couple of the the Susquehanna fishing tackle tournaments. I wanted to fish Ike's tournament. I wanted to fish a couple of the River Rat Open things.
Yeah.
And I pretty much lost out on all that. I have to look forward to fishing the fall season in the Ranger, and you know
That's when it's best. I really dude, last fall Above the Dam was like, oh my God.
Yeah, you know what? That has been one of the things I said this year that I really wanted. I wanted to fish the flats. I wanted to get better at fishing the flats this year. Hasn't worked out that way. When the boat comes back, the flats probably won't be fishing. I mean, the flats might fish as good as kind of Wingo does. However, right now, my energy and my mindset is kind of when the boat comes back, I think I'm just going to go up and float Wingo. That's kind of what I want to do right now. I think it will pay its dividends to put the time in up on kind of Wingo in the fall season.
Yep. I would spend best piece of advice I can give anybody up there is if I went up there 3 times, my first 3 times, the first 2 days I wouldn't pick up a fishing rod. I would not.
Right.
I would go down every bank, all 11 miles, or up until you get into the rocks. And I would maybe 30 yards off the bank, 40 yards off the bank, and I would side scan. I would mark every little thing that you think might hold a fish. And then I would go back down the bank 100 yards off and do the same thing. And then I would do it on the other side of the lake. Yeah. And then I would do it down the middle. And that's what I would do, to be completely honest with you. And like today, I found something in a spot that I fished 100 times on live scope, and I caught like a nice fish off of it. Like, it's 10 feet away from a spot that I fish religiously. And like, I didn't even see it until I just happened to pan over on live scope because the fish weren't where they usually are. And I'm like, hey, what's that? Let me cast over there. Oh, wow, there's a fish. Oh, it's a nice one. It's like a 4-pounder. Like, what? I mean, it's so...
Dan, send us some pictures of your build and some details of what you got going on. I'm interested to see that.
Yeah, definitely. What kind of boat is it? Is it like a completely custom, or are you remanning, or like what's the deal? Because I'm kind of looking for a project.
Do you want to talk about that?
No.
Okay.
Not until it happens.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to happen, but I'll give it. If it doesn't, if I don't hear back from the guy by like tomorrow, we'll talk about it next week.
Haven't heard anything back yet.
No, I just looked at it.
Send a question mark. Question mark.
I'm just
No
gonna
hurt.
blow this guy's
No hurt.
phone up.
I wouldn't blow it up. Just be like, hey, just what's up? It's it'd be cool. It'd be cool. It would be a nice project, But yeah, definitely wouldn't. I wouldn't sit on it too long. Say a question mark if the guy doesn't get back to you, and then I would probably just write it off. You know what I mean? What are you gonna do at that point?
Right.
I've been building a bass boat for a year now and almost done. Got to get batteries and safety gear and start test running. Man, I can't imagine buying like an old bass hall, refurbishing everything, new carpets, doing everything on the boat. And then it just...
Because it's cheaper than a new boat, and that's,
It is
that's the
cheaper.
last thing.
It is cheaper than a new boat. That's the wild thing. It is cheaper than a new boat. And a good haul is a good haul. Period.
That's the last thing I want to talk about is, you know how much fun I've been having in the last day or two trolling Icon boats?
Tell us about it.
Oh, it's so fun. So much fun.
Why are you trolling Icon boats?
So, like, they posted something where it was like a lifted 6.7 with, like, I just says no swearing, but fuckboy rims. Like, the ones that are, like, the chrome, like, flame pattern rims. That, like,
you mean the American forces.
Well, whatever. If the tire blows and, like, you're instantly screwed, type of rims. Which, like, if that's your thing, that's your thing. But, like, it's not my thing. So they have those. It's lifted with what are the bars called that go under the truck? I don't know.
Traction bars.
Traction bar. I don't know any of this shit because I don't do boy shit with my truck. Sorry, crucify me. But
Dude, they're just into making mean horsepower and never pulling a trailer.
exactly. So traction bar, like powder coated traction bars, freaking like, and then the Icon boat that's got like 17 graphs up front and all this shit. And I'm like commenting like, this entire photo is like out of my tax bracket, dude. Like, who are you like?
Who are you applying to
That's what I'm
right now?
saying.
Like
who do you appeal to with this
who are
boat?
you appealing to right now?
That's what I don't understand is, everyone talks, the live wells. Does the live wells like give the fish a happy ending or something? Because, like,
If they live through the live well, it's a happy ending.
here's the thing. I don't. What? Oh, I haven't killed a fish yet this year. I'll have everyone know that. Here's my thing, right? The app, like, you're not sitting in one. You're not driving it off the lot for less than $1.15 before taxes. Okay. And that's not even the loaded package. The loaded package is like $140. So it's like,
Do they make different sizes? They all 21 footers.
I don't know that. I don't know. It's their first year, so they probably they might have a 20. I know they have.
They
a
look
21.
sharp.
I think they look like a
Hey,
shoe.
there he is, Brian Dyson.
Dude, they look like a shoe.
I think they're a good looking boat, honestly.
Okay, but so
Dude, they have G-juice injectors.
that is so cool. I have a G-juice injector too. It's this. It's my left hand. I inject it by pouring the bottle into the live well. That's how I inject G-juice, and I saved $40,000. Like, I just can't.
Stupid.
This is why I troll them, because
You have to be stupid rich to do this. Like,
this is why.
how rich do you have to be to sacrifice $40,000 so that you could have an automatic G-juice adder into your live well? Like, what the fuck is this shit?
To be fair, it's not just. Icon is just the latest and greatest offender of stupidity.
You know what? That's
Like-
fine, and it's fantastic. It was like when Tesla came out. You're always going to have the latest and greatest bullshit.
Ranger's guilty of
It's
it too.
another thing to fail.
Ranger decided, instead of having rocker switches for like your live well, your bilge pumps, and whatever in the R series, they have a touch screen, like 8-inch touch screen that you control everything on. Now, anybody that like touches grass knows what's going to happen to that in like 2 years when it gets wet, when it gets cold, and then it gets hot, and then it bumps around on Kentucky Lake. It's shit's not going to work, right? Now, what's easier, fixing a rocker switch or getting a new 8-inch touchscreen? Like, what are we doing here? So yeah, Rangers go why does the 520R have a heated steering wheel? I don't know.
Oh my!
Do we need
Really?
that? It does. Yes.
I don't know. It depends on where you're fishing. You might need it.
I don't think. Okay, if it's really okay, let's think about this. The heating steering wheel options, I gotta be.
It's not, dude. I don't. Okay, I'm not. I'm sorry. Unless that steering wheel is 150 degrees, it ain't doing shit for your hands. Anyways,
It's got to be $100, a $2,000 option. Got to be right. If it's not a standard $1,000 bolted into the boat, you know it's like $100 a pair of gloves that'll actually keep your hands warm. It's like I don't understand why. I don't understand why we have to like reinvent and re-perfect everything. And all you're doing is pricing more and more people out of the industry, right? Like, and the thing of it is like, so the reason, like, I'll tell you right now.
well, dude. It's like even Ferrari said it the best. Why have you never seen a Ferrari commercial on TV?
Because they're not advertising to us.
They're not advertising to us. They're not advertising to people sitting down watching television. They're advertising to millionaires.
Right.
People that don't sit down and watch television.
Right.
People that grind all day long. And honestly, I'm still not understanding that because if you're a millionaire, you're a billionaire. When do you have... That's such a freaking bullshit line.
So-
I'm going to say, when do you have
Right.
time to go fishing, but they have time to do anything they want?
So here's my question. Okay, so here's the thing. Icon, not that they care, not that they're ever going to watch our show, but if they did, here's my message to you. If you want to make a $150,000 bass boat, here's how, that's fine. If, and only if, you make an affordable 18 to 19 foot boat that is affordable for people like me, for people like him, and for people like you all that watch this show. Ranger used to do that. Nitro is like the only one that does that. And I'm not a Nitro guy.
Nitro is even outrageously expensive at this point.
I'm not a Nitro guy.
For a Z19.
But like
Z9, whatever.
Right. Like you're not getting it. The only choice if you're a working guy to get a new 18-foot bass boat that's affordable is a Nitro. It's not even close. Like it's not even close.
And they're making a nice boat, by the way.
Oh,
from what I hear.
Just because I don't prefer Nitro doesn't mean I think they're bad boats.
I hated my old one, but however,
have-
that was all engine based. It had nothing to do with the boat itself.
I have no reservations against Nitro. I've been on some Z20s before, and I like them. You know, I would run a Nitro.
Right.
It's not my number one choice. I don't like a lot of things about Nitro, but I don't think it's a bad boat at all. I think it's a very well-made boat. Is it as well-made as some of the other options? You know, probably not, but you make up for that in cost. You know, if you take care of your boat, will it last you regardless of whether or not it's a Nitro? Absolutely. My biggest fault with Nitro is the trailers.
At what point do you just considering building an aluminum boat and just fishing it?
So, dude, tin boats are going to become like...
Tin boats are already
Yeah.
becoming.
So, back in the day, and it wasn't that long ago, maybe like 5 to 10 years ago, you know, college kids and guys, like people that wanted their first bass boat started like 18, 19 foot for, 3 to 5 years. And then they went up to the 20. Then they went up. Now it's like, guys, okay, I've decided I wanted to fish college. Hey, Mom, I need a check for $170,000 so I can go buy an Icon that gives you a hand job where you're going down the lake or whatever. So
At a minimum.
right. So, we have that now. But the thing of it is like, dude, I remember when I fished college and I bought my Ranger, and I was like, I every dime I've ever spent on that boat has been mine. I've made that, and that's not bragging. That's just the way it is. The first college tournament I rolled up to, I had like the shittiest boat there in my Ranger. Like, and then it kind of hit, and I was like, I don't think a lot of these guys are self-funded, dude. And it's no bad blood. If you had the opportunity, you'd be stupid to not take it. But it's like kids, these guys in college, man, they're not starting off in an 18, 19 foot boat. They're starting off in a loaded 20, 21 foot boat with a 4-stroke and live scope or whatever, so I think 10 is bridging that gap of, we don't have the money to go into a 21 foot boat, but we can go into a 19 or 20 foot with all the same features, options, tin boat. And guys like Keith Poche and John Cox, but more so Keith Poche actually, are the ones that keep that alive, right? That's why I like Keith Poche a lot, because the message and the example that Keith Poche kind of puts out to young anglers is like, look, you don't need a 21-foot 521R. You don't need a LX21 Icon. You don't
As
need,
he runs on the most expensive aluminum boat you can buy.
and even that's a hell of a lot cheaper than a 20-foot loaded Nitro.
A 20-foot loaded Icon.
How much is his boat?
80, 90 grand probably.
The little one or the big one?
The freaking Gator Tracks.
The 16-footer?
No, I think it's an 18-foot Gator Tracks that he's run. It's an 18-foot Gator Tracks. He's got a 150 on the back of it.
I
Poles.
thought it was a 115.
I think it's a 150.
But, okay, so my point is, but
Either
I don't
or.
think it's that much. I don't think it's that much. I would
I
say
don't
like
know,
50.
man, dude. I looked up Gator Tracks and like baseline was like,
I don't know. But I think the message that
it is for aluminum. It is the icon of aluminum boats. Let's put it that way.
I'll agree. with
Still
that.
cheaper than an Icon, but it is.
What is that? It's a piece of metal.
That is a dirt bike part.
Oh, it looks like a guitar.
It's a
slide.
spacer.
But anyway, I think guys like Keith Poche and John Cox, they kind of, and they're not necessarily the greatest examples, but they set the precedent that you don't need to have a wrapped 21-foot glass boat to go out there and do it.
Right.
You could do it in an aluminum boat. Are there disadvantages? Sure. Are there advantages? Absolutely. And I think that's the problem. Like that's the biggest issue I have with pro fishing is it's a lot of it's political. It's like, you know, you don't see a whole lot of footage Bass puts out of Keith Poche. You know, you see every time Jacob Wheeler like scratches his left nut, like Bass makes a post about it, right? Like every time, you know, for a while it was Greg Hackney, right? Every time Greg Hackney caught a fish, it was like there was a Wired to Fish episode about it. Like,
Right.
Where's the Wired to Fish episode on Keith Poche? You know what I'm saying? Like there isn't any. Where is the what? There has to be a reason for it.
Keith Poche is running his own line.
That's well, and that's the thing is I think that, you know, a lot of it's sponsor driven too. So
Right.
and I have my own opinions on a lot of things, but I really think a lot of the Keith Poche controversy comes back to I don't necessarily think that Bass was upset with Keith Poche. I think it was the sponsors that are heavily involved in Bass were upset with Keith Poche. You know what I'm saying? If I'm paying 15 guys, if I'm paying 15, and that wait, hold on a minute though, Martin, because Poche fishes the opens. So I understand what you're saying, but like,
What are they on? Are they on the Potomac?
I don't think it's the big MLF. I think it's a like a BFL. I don't know though.
Okay. I
Could be
read
wrong.
somewhere it said on Potomac. I'm like, what is going on Potomac right now?
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of boats in the Potomac. But so, damn, what was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. Oh, so if I'm Garmin, right, or whatever, and I have boat outside. Oh, Dan's talking about his bass boat build, but that's cool, man. Anyway, so what I was saying is, so like if I'm Garmin or whatever, right, and I have a huge sponsor with 50 of the guys on whatever tour, right, and Keith Poche kicks their ass by taking his gator tracks and getting skinny and hunting some gray area in rules, which he does for sure.
Right.
I'm going to have a problem with that. I'm absolutely going to have a problem with that. If I'm paying you to represent my brand and you're getting beat by a guy in his dad's John boat, which we know that's not the case, but
Right.
that's what it looks like when you compare Keith Poche's boat to Jacob Wheeler's boat, people are going to have an issue with that, right? Like the big sponsors that pump millions and millions and millions of dollars into bass fishing are like, I don't know. because we want to sell the belief that like, hey, you got to have our stuff if you want to be good.
For everybody that'll drop somebody for what they're doing has another end of something that'll pick somebody up for what they're doing.
Right.
And in my opinion, what Keith Poche is doing keeps fishing interesting.
I agree. And I think the way that he fishes is more relatable to 90% of us that fish on the weekends, that have jobs.
You know how many times I've wanted to winch my boat across a piece of property over to like some other piece of water that I can see or something and just go fish it?
Right.
It's like he's doing what everybody wants to do.
Right. He's doing how we all grew up fishing.
Yeah.
In an aluminum
He's living
boat.
it.
You're not running 70 mile an hour across the lake, in an aluminum boat with a big spinner bait or whatever the hell he does, right? He doesn't do anything crazy. Like fishing tactics wise, he fishes very conventional, traditional baits. He just gets into spots and he does his thing. And I think that's cool, right? Like,
Yeah.
How many tournaments you see Keith Poche place in where he sits there and stares at the screen and talks about his, if it wasn't for this $750 rod I have, I wouldn't be catching these fish right now. No, he doesn't do that shit.
Nope.
He's like, I'm back here in this creek. There's an alligator right there, and this gator tracks boat. I tell you what, boy. And he cocks his hat up like that. And he's like, I got a dip in, but I put it in the back of my mouth so the camera won't see it. And I just, oh man, that's a 5-pounder right there. Like it's good old boy Keith Poche shit, man. Like, I like that. I personally like it. Now, I take more away as a student of the sport watching Jacob Wheeler live scope at times, and watching like Greg Hackney fish a jig.
Right.
However, I think it's cool as shit that Keith Poche does what Keith Poche does and wins tournaments. And I really do think a lot of this like animosity towards him is driven by sponsors, driven by money. Look at Josh Jones. Josh Jones is a great example. Josh Jones was literally removed from a crappie fishing tournament because, oh geez, Rob's calling. Riverboat, should we put him on speaker?
We got Riverboat Rob on speaker right now.
Yo.
What's up, dog?
Something smells like updog in here.
Hey, look, I had to chime in.
Rob, mute your computer. Mute your computer.
mute
We
your
hear the
computer,
echo.
Rob.
I got you on like 3 TVs, dude. I said, like, hold on a second. Let me. I'm working on it, dude. Is that better?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I had to chime in on this. This conversation was getting too good, dude. I'm sitting home. I'm sitting home with the flu, but I had to chime in. So, Keith Poche, he flips up Berkeley pit balls. That's all he does.
Yeah. That's
all he does, dude.
It's nothing groundbreaking. It's like old school, and it works, and he's able to do it. That's what I think. I really think that's why a lot of people in the industry don't like it, because it, in a way, it nullifies, all the stuff that they're trying to sell to all these anglers out there. Like, you got to have our thing, and this is the next best thing in the world, and if you don't have live scope, you suck, and you're never going to do anything. Keith Poche,
It doesn't even work that way, though, dude.
Right.
Like, Rob, you already know.
Right, but John Cox he has electronics, never installed them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he had on his truck. Like
He loves the live scope, though. John Cox says, I love the live scope.
That's John Cruz, not John Cox.
Oh, my God. I screw that up every time.
Well, Tony he'll know what I'm talking about. They get there when they go up north. When they go up north and in smallmouth fishing, then they have a disadvantage.
Yeah, no, I agree.
With no live scoop.
Correct.
When they're up on St. Lawrence and all that.
Yep. Yeah, you're right.
You're right. I feel personally that we need both in the sport. It's kind of been my whole freaking argument about the whole thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think I wish there were more. I wish that there were more guys instead of just Keith Poche and John Cox. I wish there was a percentage of the field fish like that. They don't necessarily need 10 boats, but a percentage of the field just, old school. I'm going to go flip a pit boss and throw a big spinnerbait and just see what happens. You know what I mean?
Ott Defoe does sometimes. Ott Defoe's another one that will do it. Ott Defoe has a jet boat, actually.
Right.
He doesn't fish it in the derbies, but he has a jet boat. He's known to go, places where others don't go.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it makes it kind of cool personally. Not saying that, live scooping and all that isn't cool as well, but I kind of feel like the sport really needs both.
So, Rob, what do you think? Do you think that the sponsors, like people that don't sponsor Keith Boucher, are behind a lot of this negativity towards him, trying to?
Oh, yeah.
So you think I dare to say it's a conspiracy, but it just makes too much sense to me. If I'm trying to push all these new latest and greatest techniques, and you got some guy here that's doing it the way it's been done for the last 30 years, kind of undermines what I'm trying to push on people.
No, I agree 100%. Yeah, some of it's a lot of politics like that. They need to kind of, like, in my personal opinion, they need to kind of back off and, let both things happen.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
It's like skateboarding. I gotta have a skateboarding comparisons, but it's like vert skating and street skating. You need both. Can't have one.
Right.
Right. So, and it was funny because with skateboarding, vert skating pretty much died, and it was only street skating took over. But then, like the Tony Hawk game came out and brought vert back, and now they have both, and everything's good.
I played
But
those
they
games.
had
They
the,
were awesome.
Dude, but you know what's even more interesting? Did you see what happened with? Did you see what happened with golf?
Oh, with the PGA Tour, and they're all
Yeah, they're
switching back and forth.
linking up with some Saudi Arabian country or something like that.
No. So it was almost similar like bass fishing, like when the pros had left bass and went to MLF.
Yes.
Starting to like a new tour. Now they're merging both tours together. So it would be in the fishing world, it would be the same as like MLF and bass merging together.
Right.
As one tour.
Right.
That'd be
okay. That would be
that'll
interesting.
Think that ever happened though?
No, there's too much money. Too much money in each.
like you don't want to see like Jacob Wheeler fish against Brandon Polinick again or whatever. You know what I mean?
Me personally, no, because I don't watch it. But that's just me.
Yeah,
that's
right,
just
really
that's
follow
just
it.
me.
But it would be the same as like just say like if you took like football and like Tom Brady went to one league and Aaron Rodgers went to another league, and you would never see them play against each other again.
Right.
They could merge, and then the leagues merge back, and then you can see them play against each other again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we see KVD fish against Greg Hackney again.
Right.
Whatever. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, it makes sense. I mean, I think it would be cool. I don't know. I think that the overall sport of competitive fishing is so far strayed from the roots of what it came from, and it's far enough so to where people like me just kind of elect not to watch. That's not saying like I'll be the first one to tell you.
I just haven't watched because I haven't found. I enjoy fishing myself. I don't enjoy watching it on television as much.
Watch. There is a show. It's called Pond Wars.
Pond Wars.
Pond Wars. Yeah, they're like cooking out and like they don't take it that serious. It's kind of more like having fun.
Riverbed
But I
Rod.
always thought like yeah, it's a gold mine to have like a I don't know what you even call it, like a off the road or backwoods like fishing tournament where
I'm
like
good.
you got
I'm
like
good.
the
I gotta
keep
wake up
shades and
tomorrow.
all like cutting down trees and jumping logs and like off the road type stuff. Dude, I think my TV's like behind, like Chad hands Tony the phone, Tony hands Chad the phone. That's what I'm seeing on the TV.
I'm sneezing.
I was gonna fill his beer up for me. I don't want the beer no more.
Yeah, I got a fishing tournament in the morning trying to win.
I was going to go out on the GP. It's supposed to be windy tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gonna blow, and I'm gonna be up above the dam where
You can hide from the wind. There's places.
Well, it's gonna be a northwest wind, so it's gonna blow all the water out of the gunpowder.
Hey, I'm going to jump off here. Oh, you know what? Paul texted me too and made a good point. Keith Carson is another one of those guys.
Yes.
Like John Cox and Keith Boucher and all. There's Keith Parsons as
Right.
well. He's another, let's just say, I don't know what you even call it, dude. Like, what would you call it? What do you call it in dirt biking, Chad?
A two-stroke rider. I don't know.
Right.
Motocross?
He's another two-stroke guy. Dude, I got the flu. I'm about to jump off here, but good talking to y'all, man.
Hey,
Hopefully I
Rob.
can get
Yep.
back
Thanks
quick,
for
man.
calling.
Thanks
in,
for
Rob.
calling in,
Appreciate
my
it.
brother. We will talk to you soon.
All right, man. I'll see y'all.
See you
Yep,
guys.
see you.
Have a good one.
And with that, I think we're going to come to the end of our podcast for the night. You know, we're going to keep it short and sweet. We're really looking forward to seeing everybody. I am going to run a live stream before the summer solstice tournament. We're definitely gonna go live one more time before the summer solstice.
Right.
I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody at the summer solstice. That's going to conclude our podcast for the night, but I'm looking to seeing all you guys out there. Remember, if you have time, get out there and do your research, because what you think you're going to fish this year ain't there like it was last year, and I can promise you that. We've talked on here before time and time again about how history changes. Well, the history on the GP is like, it's way off this year. So get out there, put some time in, figure out what you guys want to do, and let's make this thing great on June 22nd. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you for everybody that supports us. See you guys on Thursday. Peace.